All right, looks like we're live. We're live. What is up, Undroppables Nation? It's a beautiful Monday morning. I guess Monday afternoon now, right around lunchtime for us out here on the East Coast. But today we have a very special episode. We have a champion in the house, Best Ball Mania 2 champion, Liam Murphy. What's up, Liam?
What's up, everybody? Excited to rip this draft. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course. And also joining us today, we have the one and only Mr. Alex Caruso. What's up,
Alex?
Let's go.
Super excited to be back doing another best ball stream with you. We already won $3 million with our last one. For second or third place with this one.
Yeah, let's do a clean sweep. Let's go for the 3 million and the 1 million. Or is the second place 1.5? I think it's 1.5. Yeah.
I don't know. I've only here. I'll look it up while we.
Second place is 1 million. It's 1 million flat. So
okay, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't even paying attention to that, honestly. Just like we're only looking for the 3.
Gotta look at first.
Only looking at first place. But okay, just like quick before we jump into the draft room, Liam, I'm curious, whenever you're jumping into these Best Ball Mania draft rooms, like what's like top of mind for you? Do you just kind of like let the room fall to you? Do you have any specific strategy that you try to tie yourself to, and anything that you want to let the stream know?
I would say it's a mix. I think, largely you should just be going into rooms and adjusting to what happens, especially if, you got to know yourself as a drafter. If you're someone who's maxing BBM4, that's what I would recommend. If you're someone doing 3 teams, I would hashtag get your guys, So like whether that means you want to get some players on the team you're a fan of, like that's totally fine with me. Like whatever. If you're a fan of the Texans and you're like, I need CJ Stroud on this team, make it happen. Make it happen a round above. It's going to help your rooting interest. Sometimes I will come in with like a strategy I want to enact. Like I want to try to do this type of unique build. But for the majority of the teams, it's just let's see what the room's doing. And I'm just going to adjust on the fly.
Okay. Kind of building off of that. I know there's been a lot of talk in the best ball space around the importance of stacking, the importance of week 17 correlation. What are your thoughts on that specifically?
Well, I think I helped popularize week 17 bringbacks because on my BBM2 winning team that had Rashad Penny and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yep.
And I do think some people have, conflated that a bit where like they're trying to like get every single pick week 17 game stack, right? And a bring back helps you hit it helps you hit like a 90% outcome more often. So it makes it easier on yourself to win, but it doesn't help you hit like a 99% outcome, right? And when you're in a final size with 460 entrants, if you can get there, you don't need 99 percentile outcomes to win, right? So I try to layer in some bringbacks for week 17, some minis like running back, wide receiver here and there. There are some teams I build that don't have any bringbacks. And like I'm a big proponent of if a bad team plays a good team, like I'm not forcing a bad team's player as a bringback. For example, like Bills and Patriots. I'm not forcing a Patriot on every bringback because A, it's a division opponent. I know the Bills would happily win 50-0 and they don't need to be like pushed at all, right? And B, literally the Patriots might not score any touchdowns if they're a bad offense, right? So like same thing with like Cardinals, Eagles. I'm not forcing a bring back there. Will I do it sometimes? Yes. But like Chiefs, Bengals, that's one where I could see it being a shootout. And again, I'm not forcing it. I'm not trying to build a whole roster of week 17 correlation. It's just a couple bringbacks here or there, especially ones that you think the field might not be doing at a high clip.
Okay. I really like that. That's kind of the way that I've been thinking about week 17, like the entire time I've been drafting my Best Ball Mania entries. It's like, okay, let's target games that we think are going to be shootouts and draft guys on both sides. But like I've been drafting a lot of Saints players because I really like the Saints this year, and I really like that week 17 game against the Buccaneers. But I don't think it's necessary at all to draft any of the Buccaneers players because that offense shouldn't be too good this year. So, okay, that's cool. Alex, do you have any thoughts?
No, I think just when in doubt, chase upside. I think that Liam covered it all pretty much. Just like you got to adjust to your draft room. You have to know how many entries that you're going to put into each contest. But outside of that, when in doubt, I am always just trying to hit the home runs because that's how you win the big money. Not playing for third place.
Exactly. Definitely not.
No, I agree with that a lot. Because like I try to swing for upside for the majority of my picks, right? Like Devontae Parker versus a random RB2. I'm probably taking the random RB2, which is far more likely to be a 0 too, right? Like Chris Evans of the Bengals could be a 0, or you could do what Samaje Perine did last year. Like that is truly chasing upside and risking a 0. Devontae Parker in a healthy season is probably like 700, 800 yards, depending on how good the Patriots are. So, it doesn't seem like he will be a home run. Like I don't see the 1,010 season coming.
I don't really see that either, but he could have a game or two.
Yeah, he could have a game or two, but like, anyone can have a game or two. Like you got you got to make a parameter after at a certain point.
100%.
All right, got us into a draft room, and looks like we're in the 9 spot.
Okay,
I think the back end is really strong to be drafting from nowadays.
Do you have a favorite pick? Like, if you're drafting right now, you get to pick your spot. Like, where would it be?
Somewhere on the back end.
For me, it's
like
the 9.
Any of the 9, 10, 11, 12. But it's not only the quality of your second round player, which feels nice. It's the 3-4, and then it's the wide receiver pocket at the 5-6 turn is like where some of the last wide receivers go that you feel good about.
Yeah. The 9 spot is actually my favorite. I've done 3 drafts so far, and all 3 of them have been the 9 spot, and all of those teams feel very, very nice. And I don't think I've gotten too many 9s in Best Ball Mania, so I'm excited to draft this one here. Liam, Alex, any guys that you specifically like out of the 9 based off of who should be there? I have one name in mind.
I think the big thing you need to decide is if you want to go wide out, and then hit like the running backs from like Josh Jacobs, Ramondre, Etienne in 3-4, or if you want to go true 0 RB, or if you want to do like a Bijan anchor or like wide receiver Pollard is something I would do, and then hit some more wideouts.
Yep, I think that's a pretty good one. What he said, I feel the same way. Where I think it usually like kind of let it get to me about 9. And then right there is kind of when I'm deciding what I'm going to do for pretty much my entire team off the get-go. Obviously, you have to adjust to the draft room, but I think like that's usually where, like he mentioned, like you're kind of setting your strategy, whether it's a hero RB, you're going double wide receiver. I think kind of seeing who's around there is really interesting. But I like my Bijan hero RB teams, definitely the best.
Yeah, like Bijan, Diggs, AJ Brown. Yep. I just kind of mix them.
All feel pretty nice there. If for whatever reason Cooper Kupp falls to us, I think we.
Yeah, of course, a falling Kupp. I'm clicking. I'm a little bit worried about Eckler this year. I mean,
too.
A lot of his production came without Keenan or Mike in the game as far as like receptions. On the other hand, like we're expecting the offense to be better with their offensive coordinator upgrade, but he's a little bit older. If they want to push the ball deeper down the field, that's not really Eckler's game. But he could sun run a bunch of touchdowns if the offense is that much better.
Okay, looks like
Kupp just automatic Kupp there.
Like that's unreal. That is unreal. That Kupp fell to us at 9.
That's huge.
Okay. Now we got to think about the best way to take advantage of Kupp at 9.
I would say it's just like you don't get cute and you take the best player available.
I agree.
I personally like Tony Pollard more than Chubb and Saquon.
I do like Tony Pollard more than Chubb and Saquon too.
I also like CD, Amon-Ra, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I like that tier as well. We'll see once we're on the clock who's available. But I think we have a nice little quad of players that we can decide from. Amon-Ra ends up going at the 111. We got three guys that we want at 16.
I think if you wanted to make the tiebreak towards the wideouts just to take advantage of the rare Cooper Kupp fall, that makes sense strategically to me.
I agree.
And I don't hate what this guy did right here. Like what this guy did is he did Taylor and Jacobs, which obviously like those guys were 3-4 turn picks for a stretch of the season.
Mhm.
But he's just kind of getting unique, you know? So I would say, like Lamb for uniqueness purposes, just because a Cup Lamb team is very rare if he's there, I would tie break towards that. But
I would tie break that way as well. If Lamb does get taken, we'll go ahead and take Pollard. Okay, so Lamb is here. This is...
Yeah, I mean, now you have like one of the like very few Lamb Cup teams in the whole tournament, which just feels really nice.
Yeah, it feels really, really strong. I'm excited. I can't believe that Cup fell to us and the Lamb falls to us in the early second. But okay, we got some. We got a pretty elite wide receiver room to start.
I've been building a lot of teams, just kind of like assuming Cup and Lamb will be in our lineup. You know, whoever the 2 wide receivers you start with, just like assuming they're going to be in your lineup like every week. So it's like now you have 2 of the 3 wideout spots locked down. And now I'm more like veering off and trying to get some of the running backs, trying to get some of the elite quarterbacks or tight ends. And then, you know, you can go quantity for just your wide receiver 3 spot, because it's like, I mean, realistically, Cup will be in your lineup every week. If
he should be, yeah.
And Lamb will too. Like, he doesn't have a ton of target competition. So I'd be feeling great about this team.
Yeah, I already do feel great about this team.
Josh didn't tell us behind the scenes, but I'm assuming that we have 33% of the equity of this $3 million team.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's exactly how we're going to do it. Obviously, the split will be post-tax, but yes, 30%.
Yeah, it'll be post-tax. And what I've been doing, because like last year I sent out for a bunch of min cashes, is you don't owe us anything unless we get to the finals.
Yep,
I'm cool with that.
So you don't have to send us the like $6.25 for a min cash. Because what I noticed last year is I had a bunch of guests on, made a bunch of playoff teams. I sent out all the min cash on Venmo. I didn't get any min cash equities back, and I know I built some playoff teams with some folks.
All right. Well, I'd like that sort of thinking. I mean, I've kind of been adopting that whenever I have guests on. So, yep, finals. Send out the Venmos. If not, then it was fun drafting. But this is already feeling like a very strong team.
Can you send $1 million in Venmo for this team?
I have no idea.
I think you need to do more of like a wire
transfer.
Yeah, that's more. That's
write out a check.
Yeah, we're gonna have to meet in like a corner of like a park to do the transfer.
No, I mean, I for sure have 0 Cup Lamb teams. So
I've never even seen a Cup Lamb teams.
No, I mean, Cup did. There was like right after his injury. Yep. You know, like as a drafter, you should know that like the market is very reactionary. Like everyone wants to say the market's so sharp. No, the market is like very fear based, right? So like you can almost just like universally disregard the fear in the market and just like buy a player. And sure, sometimes you're gonna like buy an injured guy and it's not gonna work out. But almost like the vast majority of the case, you're just getting uniqueness. You know, like I can think of like years past, the Aaron Rodgers rumors caused like Devontae Adams to go from like a 1st-round pick to a 2-3 turn pick, you know?
Yeah.
And then Aaron Rodgers signs back with the Packers and he climbs back up to the 1st round. The year that I won BBM2, Jonathan Taylor started to fall to the 2nd round because Carson Wentz got hurt in practice, which like shouldn't have even impacted his ADP at all. You know, like arguably they would use him more. Yeah. So this is really, I mean, I think obviously you just need to take T if he's there. Like I'm not a huge T guy, but again, just like getting like you would have the only team to have Cup Lamb T in the whole tournament feels pretty nice.
Yeah.
I mean, we're coin flipping to have it happen right now.
Brutal.
So
brutal.
I'm Ramondre here personally. I don't know how you guys view Ramondre. I'm not afraid of Zeke at all.
I'm not afraid of Zeke at all either.
No.
I do think, you know, like we are hearing some concerning things out of New England and Signal that their O-line is like very bad. They're trying to trade for like every tackle in the league right now, which is not good for their passing game, right? Like that's how I view it mostly. And, overall, that's a concern for their offense. But I just think, like, even in really bad O-line, really bad offense, like, Ramondre is going to get his dump offs.
Mm-hmm.
I like Ramondre more than ETN because he's competing with guys like Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster instead of Calvin and Kirk and like I just prefer to play that team through the passing game. I think this next pick is interesting where you can play for the like ETN league winner, which I still think he can be, but he could also disappoint if like Tank is getting a lot of carries, which I do expect him to see the field. But he's just like he's an explosive breakaway guy, right? So even if he's not a high season scorer, can he run an 80-yard touchdown against the Panthers and win you $3 million? Absolutely. And there's not a lot of running backs who feel that way, but I'm also down to go wide receiver. How do you guys feel?
Yeah, if he's there, I think you take him. I think that's a good point. But I wouldn't mind pivoting to one of the other guys here.
And Brees I like too, obviously.
I was gonna say I like Brees. I like Brees here for back end of the year just to really pop off. And then the one wide receiver.
Do you have your rankings in here, or is this ADP?
This is ADP.
ADP. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah. For me, it's either Mike, Brees, or ETN.
Mike, Brees, or ETN. I like Brees the most out of those three.
I'm down with whatever.
Yep.
I think you have a strong enough team that you could carry a slow Brees.
Yeah, I would definitely take Brees.
Let's go Brees Hall. That feels really nice. Because Brees Hall down the stretch.
Copy while we do.
Go ahead. Brees Hall down the stretch. I expect him to just kind of explode because if Brees Hall didn't have that torn ACL near the beginning of the season last year, Brees Hall would probably be a very solid first round pick.
Yeah, he was the running back 6 before he got hurt last year.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. As a rookie,
his snaps were going up every single game to that point too. Like he wasn't even playing a full snap share yet, and was like 6 games in. It was ridiculous.
He was cooking.
Yeah, I have him on half of my redraft teams so far. I have him on 5 out of 10, which is one of my.
Oh, nice.
He's tied for like my 3rd most owned player right now. So I am very in on him. Well, because again, like you don't need him to be great like in week 2. So many people are like, oh well, I need to win week 1. Like no, like we're playing for first place. Like if I get 2nd or last, like I don't care. I'm there.
Yeah, I want first. I'm going for the championship.
When Keenan Allen and Mike Williams came, I wanted to ask you, like, would you ever take Mike over Keenan, or are you taking Keenan all day? Because I know the public like loves Keenan Allen more because he's playing like the quote unquote CeeDee Lamb role. But are you taking any Mike Williams over him?
So I'm pretty split on that. I think that just from the way that both players have been utilized in the past, Mike Williams does have that higher touchdown upside, and his scores are like very, very volatile. And Jahan Dotson 410, Jesus Christ. And I love getting that sort of volatility on my best ball teams because maybe for redraft, I'm leaning Keenan Allen all the way because he's very consistent. He'll get you 7 to 9 receptions and like 70, 80 yards, maybe 100 if he has a really good day. But Mike Williams could go for 2 for 10 and get you a bust week, but he could also go for 10 for 120 and 2 touchdowns and have just an absolute monster week. And he's done that in the past before. So I do like Mike Williams more in best ball, but I like drafting both of them. I think I have pretty equal exposures to both players.
Yeah, they're hard. Like I think there's a non-zero chance that Mike takes over as like the alpha, if you would too. Like we're getting reports that he is getting moved into the slot a little bit, where the previous offensive coordinator just kind of like pigeonholed Keenan into the slot. And like, can Keenan Allen still win on the outside? Probably, like it's hard because like I want to be into Keenan. In some senses, he feels like just like a cheaper version of like Diggs, Cup, whatever, But on the other hand, a lot of target competition.
Yeah.
Are you Keenan, Alex?
I mean it's tough because Keenan Allen is pretty much just bald Cooper Cup. I mean, in one game, like to me, but like at the other side, like I think that I'm probably drafting a little bit more Mike Williams at cost. Like, and they're going similar, but in some redrafts, like they go way apart. And I think the touchdown upside of Mike Williams is really interesting. And beyond that, like Keenan Allen is over 30. I know he's not a super athletic guy, but he's over 30, coming off a hamstring injury. I mean, I think, and by that, I think Mike Williams has more of a chance to maybe overtake him, but I'm with Josh. Like I know it's like the political answer, but I like them both a lot at cost. I'm big on Herbert this year, so I'm drafting them in redraft, best ball, wherever I can get them.
Where do you guys have Quentin Johnston fitting into that scenario?
I like what. Go ahead, Alex.
Yeah, I'm taking him a lot as well. I think he's like one of my higher exposure wide receivers, at least so far, just because like I think that there's like he's like one injury away. Because like Mike Williams has not missed many games, he's been banged up. Keenan Allen missed time last year. Austin Eckler hasn't missed a game in so long. He's due. Like Quentin Johnston, I think would immediately be like a top 30 wide receiver if one of those two top guys goes down.
Okay, I like that. So it looks like we're about to be on the clock. There are a few guys I like here. I like Burrow. I like Terry. I like TJ Hawkinson all right here.
Yep.
I mean, this is a pretty nice price on Burrow.
Yeah, it is.
We don't have – it's like you have to make sure you get Boyd with him. I like Kirk.
Christian Kirk?
I don't know. I like Kirk, yeah. I'm not with the gang that's afraid about Zay Jones. I mean, this dude's just like one of the highest paid NFL wideouts.
Yep. And there's a
chance it's an offense where I expect Trevor to throw for like 4,500 to 5,000 yards. I'm down for Burrow too, though.
Yep.
Let's go Kirk because I'm going to go with Kirk here just because there is another tier of quarterbacks that we can go ahead and grab, whereas Kirk just offers us that nice like wide receiver 3 upside.
And we can still get Lawrence with like maybe Zay Jones later as well, potentially.
Yeah, exactly. I was
Kirk
also
could
thinking
just have like a boring like 1,008 season, which is just like really valuable, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know, unless like let's assume Trevor does throw for 4,500 yards just to make a nice number and around 30 touchdowns, right? So this is like roughly what Geno Smith did last year, roughly what Kirk Cousins did last year. I'm really big on Trevor making that jump. And so in that season, like let's assume Ridley's around 1,500. If he's truly like the huge alpha, which that's not even a guarantee, right? Like he could be closer to 1,200. But okay, so we got 1,500 there. Let's give like 700 to Ingram, 700 to Zay.
Yeah.
So that now we're at like roughly 3,000. Okay, you got room for 1,000 to Kirk too there, you know?
Yeah.
And then you have like 500 amongst the running backs.
There's a chance that Christian Kirk could just be younger Tyler Lockett, like where he's not physically imposing, but he ends up being a value because there's an alpha wide receiver in front of him every year.
This draft room, man.
And like Ridley could get hurt, man. And then it's like Kirk was what, like wide receiver 12 last year?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
I was a buyer at the 4-5, so.
Do we take Lawrence?
Me too.
I
could take Lawrence.
Yeah,
I think you just take Lawrence.
He fits the bill.
You have such a unique, strong build, and I mean, we have questions with Terry right now. I don't know, like we have questions with Terry with this turf toe. That's like an injury that re-aggravates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably going to start off a little bit slow, and then
he probably was a little overpriced anyways compared to Jahan Dotson.
Turn. Yeah,
like that was probably going to be closer than people wanted that were like clicking Terry. I know he's a really talented guy, but like I don't draft talent, you know, like I wasn't the guy drafting DJ Moore last year at price. And honestly, I don't want DJ Moore this year unless I have Fields with him.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I mean DJ Moore's an interesting one. I do like DJ Moore in like the 4th round. That feels pretty good for him. And then typically you're like I've been drafting a lot of DJ Moore and Justin Fields at the turns whenever that sort of stack falls to me. I'm pretty big on the Bears this year. I think that the Bears are going to be a much improved team, and I think DJ Moore and Justin Fields is going to be a big factor of that. And Justin Fields takes that next step because he finally has a real wide receiver. I mean, last year, who was he throwing to? He was throwing to Dante Pettis, Chase Claypool, and Darnell Mooney. And then now he's upgraded to DJ Moore. And the last time Chase Claypool was wide receiver 3, he was pretty good.
I am not in on DJ Moore at all, just because of like looking over like the last 10 years, like how much like passing volume can change. Because like they pass 22 times a game, and the highest increase for like any team over the last 12 years is like nine attempts a game, and that was like the 2013 Denver Broncos. So like that would basically say that like their peak range of outcomes would be like 31 pass attempts per game. Whereas like the people comparing it to Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they were already hitting over 30 pass attempts a game before Stephon Diggs came. So I think just by like that, they would have to have like a historic like, passing outcome to like make worth what DJ Moore could be. Otherwise, he's probably just going to be a mid-tier wide receiver too, like he is pretty much every single year. I just think his top 12 ceiling is a little bit capped. That's just me though.
I'm only DJ Moore on field stacks because, again, like I'm down on him from a total points perspective, but in playoff contests, if Fields goes for 302 in a game, of course DJ Moore can explode in any individual game. I also don't love I expect the Atlanta defense to be pretty decent. So I'm not loving that week 17 defense to target.
They're
not going to be cold in Chicago too.
Absolutely. Oh, is it in Chicago?
It's in Chicago too, yeah.
It was in Atlanta.
I watched Fields against that Bills D in the preseason game, and I mean the Bills like really shut him down last year in that game they played. They play this like zone defense against these rushing quarterbacks that makes it tough, but they were not moving the ball in the air. I'll say that. Like they did hit DJ Moore and like the Bills D all like collapsed around him and he like spun out and got, but like it doesn't seem like that's like a repeatable thing.
Yeah. Okay. I can get behind it. Looks like we're about to be back on the clock. I like all four of these wide receivers here. I also do like the tight ends here as well. What do you guys think?
JSN.
Me too. I mean, that's what I was
hoping to say.
Yeah.
And if not JSN, I don't get why Hollywood's falling so far.
I don't get that either.
Like there was this one like Twitter clip of him like half jogging a route.
Pick 81. That's crazy. I can't believe Jax Smith-Njigba is falling this far. It's unreal to me.
On other sites he even falls to the next round.
It's insane. Like I have so much JSN. I was drafting JSN in like the 5th round, the 6th round, the 7th round. I've been drafting him everywhere, and now I'm getting him at the end of the 7th. It's crazy.
We could be a little take locked, but I'm with you. I mean, it seems like worst case he'll come back after the bye.
Yep.
Which is not ideal if he does sit out all 5 games. But you have the type of team here that can, like, Kupp, Lamb, Kirk, Ramondre, Trevor can keep you afloat from advance rate perspective for a long time.
Yeah.
Yep. And there's a non-zero chance he could turn into like 2021 Amon-Ra St. Brown in the back half of the season if everything kind of hit right.
Explode.
Yeah.
Absolutely explode. Okay. All right.
I made that coffee and I have a Keurig and I guess the thing got like ruptured and it's got like the coffee grounds all in it. It's awful. It's awful.
Hate when that happens. I had some coffee troubles this morning too. Mine I guess it like stored all the water from the previous one and then just like massively overflowed my my Keurig.
Does not sound
my
nice.
coffee mug. But if Hollywood slides to us,
definitely gonna take him. Come on, one more.
Yeah, I would say it's a discussion between like Hollywood, Goddard. I'm still in on DeAndre Swift being a league winner. He's a fragile pick where he's obviously disappointing, but
I like his range of outcomes more than Goddard for like how we built this team. I think we can figure out Swift
later. Yeah, let's go Swift. Especially with like Breece Hall might not be healthy the first 3-4 weeks while he's still coming back from that ACL, and Swift should be healthy those first 4 weeks, so he could be the play.
Alex, I know you're a big James Conner guy. Do you like him as much in best ball where like in redraft, just advancing is a big part of the equation. In best ball, it's not only advancing, it's also having guys who can hit ceiling outcomes at the end of the season. And like I draft James Conner, he used to have like a ADP of 100, which like I kind of just packed my bags there and I've let it be unless I need a running back in this range. Like I'm not with the people who are like never James Conner. Like I definitely draft him some, but do you like him as much in something like Best Ball Mania 4 where you You need
probably
you
not
need those
as
ceiling
much as, like, a
outcomes.
not as much as a redraft league for sure, but I still like him a lot. I mean, he saw his ceiling range of outcomes last year when Kyler Murray was both not playing and their team was out of the playoffs. People are like, they're going to shut him down come the playoffs because they stink. Well, like last year, he hit a 90% snap rate in like 4 games where Kyler Murray was out and they were out of playoff contention. Like, they've shown no sign to want to shut him down. And like, I think that his range of outcomes, if he's playing late in the season, is really high. And I think another reason that I like him a little bit more in best ball than I should is because of how much people hate him. I think that's another part of it, because I think that there's a lot of people that are not in on him, which makes me want to buy the price a little bit more, and I look a little bit more unique.
Well, I'm actually like, that's something I do is I listen to a lot of other content creators, and what you're speaking to is like this hive mind effect where like, like if you are someone who's consuming a lot of content, maybe you're never clicking James Conner. So you can kind of think through like other players like that you can just kind of like layer into your portfolio, where it's like only you and like the mouth breathers, I like to call them, just like the general public who's just like firing up the draft and looking for Zeke Elliott in the first round. Like that guy is for sure clicking James Conner, but so am I. So it's like I'm competing against just that guy. I'm not competing against the guy who's consuming all of the like reception perception stats and whatever.
Yeah, well, it's like the James Bremacombe, like he put out the other day that like all his highest exposure players are like everyone that the general fantasy public hates.
I don't know how he can say that. Like I saw the list, I didn't agree with every bit of it, but no, it's
some names on there that were tough that I would never like Dawson Knox or someone like that. That
he's so free, dude. He's free. Like people don't hate him. Winks. Hayden Winks put out like a study on this where it's like the 0 RB bros last year were not clicking David Montgomery, and like Josh Jacobs, if you superimpose Josh Jacobs onto every lineup, Josh Jacobs actually advanced at a lower rate than he should have last year because the people drafting Josh Jacobs at a large clip on average were not as like, they weren't building as good of rosters. They were not the crowd that's like plugged in. So it's like, obviously it was wrong for the people to be fading Josh Jacobs, but it just speaks to like how big of an advance rate he could have been.
That is really interesting. I never thought of it that way, where like there are players that the fantasy community loves and there's players that the fantasy community doesn't love, but then like the general public likes just like the guys that are always popping off, and like Ezekiel, that's a great example. All right, we're back on the clock, so I'll bring my point back up in a second. But
I was gonna say just grab Dak, not to risk it, but we didn't get.
I was just gonna say that too. Yeah, so we can probably go Stafford later on.
I like Charbonnet a lot as like a 4th running back.
Yep,
let's do it.
And then ideally we get Geno. Does the guy inside of us have Lockett?
Does not have Lockett. I think Geno should be able to make it back to us. So let's go ahead and grab Char.
Because Trevor and Geno lets you kind of stop it too.
Yeah, I agree. I have Geno pretty high.
I like to do an 18 round drafts.
Yeah, me too. Let's go ahead and try to grab Geno on the back end. That would feel pretty nice. Start off with the 2-4-4 and then build out our wide receiver 3s a little bit later on, and then we'll probably push in tight end to the end.
Well, I also think this is a good price for Evan Ingram. Like I don't hate Evan Ingram like others, because I still think he has like a really high weekly ceiling. Like even if he's not gonna crush from a advance rate perspective, like we literally saw him score 40 last year.
Yep. Yeah. We'll need definitely depends who we get in the back. I mean, he was outside the top 20 tight ends in 8 games last year, which is a ton. But like you said, when he hits, like he's gonna hit huge, which is like way more perfect for this kind of format in a Best Ball Mania 4.
Yeah, and you can go 3 tight ends with him and just like accept that you're just hunting the weeks that he scores 2 touchdowns or whatever. And like in the playoff, they were like mean usage to him, like these like little bubble screens and whatnot. So I don't know. It's close, but I kind of side with the ADP there in grabbing Ingram, because like this is a rare, Ingram in the 100s. You guys know I like Kincaid too, but I don't think you can quite click him over Ingram.
Yep.
We'll see who falls. I think Ingram is probably the pick here. This would be 16 picks after ADP.
Yeah, and he is a guy that will fall sometimes. It's not like.
See what Rev does. Rev ends up taking Ingram. So
I would just say grab Gino.
We would probably just grab Gino here, yeah. And we can stop at 2 quarterbacks now. And then just
you have Charbonnet too, the Charbonnet JSN mini.
Yeah.
Charbonnet's going to catch passes, we think, so.
I guess all the Steelers bringbacks are all gone other than Jalen Warren, but he probably goes before our next pick.
Yeah. I mean, you could throw him like Calvin Austin, but
yeah, feels
like the market's not letting you get everything, right? So, like, I prefer Kirk to the Steelers guys, and I prefer Gino to forcing a bring back, probably.
I agree.
I mean, I think we could stop at 2 QB. I think we could stop at 4 running back if we wanted. It's a little thin at running back, but.
Andre, Brees, Swift, Sharp.
We'll probably tack on a 5th.
Yeah, we'll probably grab one more, probably near the end. Let's see. What running backs are even left? Let's see. I do like Damian Harris at cost.
Yeah, he's way too cheap.
Yeah,
there's like a lot of
unreal.
Yeah, he could be a huge pick. I like that. Do you find yourself taking any like, I know Josh, you said you're high on the Bears. I don't know how you feel, Liam, but do you find yourself taking any like Roshan Johnson in case like Khalil Herbert isn't that guy, especially as a pass catcher?
Yeah, I think Roshan's good at football. I draft him quite a bit.
Yeah, I think Roshan's good at football too.
It is a weird situation where, I mean, apparently the Bears might even trade for Jonathan Taylor, which is not bad if Khalil Herbert ends up a Colt. But I drafted a little Khalil. I drafted a little Roshan. I'm not really clicking Foreman anymore, but I was clicking him too for a time.
Me too.
I originally was not drafting any of them, just being like, I don't know, I want clarity. Then I started aggressively targeting Herbert. I still think Roshan's really good and the pass catching guy, so I think talent will shine through.
Yeah, I like that. I honestly don't have enough Herbert in my Best Ball Mania portfolio. I do have a lot of Foreman just because Foreman was the cheapest of the 3, and I like grabbing the cheap. Whenever a backfield is ambiguous, I just like grabbing the cheapest one. That's why I have a lot of Clyde as well, unfortunately. But that's kind of what happened last year with like the Chiefs. Like McKinnon was the cheapest one, and he ended up being the guy that you needed.
I had a lot of McKinnon last year.
McKinnon's he was a nice click. He's just so athletic. I mean, on Player Profiler, they have him compared to who, like LaDainian Tomlinson or something, just something absurd that McKinnon like never should be compared to, but he just has like this otherworldly athleticism.
Yep. Do you have like a McKinnon type player this year, Liam, that you find that like there's no one that would be in their right mind taking him, but you like find yourself getting some exposure similar to McKinnon?
I mean, McKinnon was getting drafted a lot. I like a lot of these rookies, Tajay Spears, Kendre Miller. I think they're pretty exciting. There's a lot of running backs to like. You got guys like Sean Tucker coming out. You got guys, some cheaper guys too. I mean, Kincaid is a smash here if he makes it back.
I agree.
We're in a soft room right now, boys. This is a $3 million team we're building.
That's exactly. I'm gonna call Venmo after to make sure that we can figure things out.
Yeah, if we can get Kincaid here a whole round after ADP, that would feel pretty nice.
Yeah. Come on, one more.
This guy scooped one piece of value on us already, right? Who did he get?
He did. He took who were we going to take last round?
Wow, he takes Higbee over Kincaid. Let's go, Kincaid.
Let's go.
That's an easy click. That's a very easy click.
He took Ingram over us.
No, I think Bullhorn took Ingram. Oh, no, it wasn't. Oh, no, Rev took Ingram, yeah.
Inside turn.
AJ.
I mean, that feels
he took
that makes the not getting Ingram, like, would you rather have Gino and Kincaid or Ingram and player here,
Yeah, I like Kincaid. I like Kincaid this year. He's a fun player to have. I was huge on him in my pre-draft process. I know, Liam, you're a huge Bills fan. how do you project the targets playing out for Buffalo this year?
I mean, Diggs like unquestioned alpha,
Right.
And then I think there's a non-zero chance that Kincaid emerges as like the second target earner, maybe
really,
down like the back half. And like I still think Gabe Davis is fine in best ball because even if he becomes third in like the pecking order of targets, he's still going to be a deep A-dot guy who's going to get his touchdowns too. Knox is not going away, but I expect Kincaid to get a lot more targets than Knox. And then I would say Deontay Hardy is going to be getting some slot work, and Sherfield too. Like they're a team that just uses so many guys situationally. I think Khalil Shakir is like undraftable right now.
Agreed.
And the market kind of just decided he was the wide receiver 3 in Buffalo, and that's looking like that. I mean, it's hard to say. Like if Diggs goes down, what happens? I'm down with Mims. Let's go Mims.
I think Mims is an easy click for me here. Let's go Marvin Mims.
Especially with JSN slow to start.
Yeah, and Judy's not going to play I don't know how many weeks. And Mims is one of my favorite. When I was going through my dynasty process, Mims was one of my favorite players. I think he's going to be phenomenal this year. Have you seen what Marvin Mims his stats for his senior year in high school?
They were crazy. Scott Barrett posted it on Marvin.
They're ridiculous.
He's like the second best wide receiver in this whole class and should be like an NFL first round pick. It sounds crazy, but if you read it, it's like it is super genius stuff. I'm trying to get as much Mims as I can in any format.
So Mims,
I don't have enough Mims because.
Go ahead.
I mean, I really think things broke really pure for him, where like Tim Patrick was literally maybe going to be the wide receiver 2 there, and then he gets hurt, and now Judy gets hurt, and now it's only like him and Dulcich and Marcus Callaway and Sutton for like targets to start the year.
KJ Hamler's gone too.
KJ Hamler, he tore his pec, I think.
No, he got a heart murmur, and so.
Oh, did he retire?
I don't know. They just cut him.
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. But
I don't think it's impossible KJ Hamler returns, is what they were saying.
Okay. My big thing that like I've been sticking to with Marvin Mims. So in high school, he put his senior year, he put up 117 receptions, 2,600 receiving yards, and 32 touchdowns playing in the state of Texas. And he was Mr. Football for the state of Texas. We know how crazy Texas is about their football. And then in college, there have only been 4 Power 5 wide receivers with an EPA per play over 1. Those 4 are CeeDee Lamb, Devonta Smith, Jamar Chase, and Marvin Mims.
Wow.
So it's a good list to be a part of.
I'm worried about the Broncos again. I was drafting 0% Jerry Jeudy and was gonna comfortably have 0% until he, I got him at like pick 80 in a draft, and at that point I'm like, all right, sure. I was drafting some Sutton, some Dulcich, some Mims, but I think there's a real chance Russ gets benched, and I think we learned in the preseason that their O-line is still a concern. How are you guys feeling about?
You don't think Sean Payton brings as much weight to the whole situation as we thought? Because I thought that Russ just got completely screwed by the game plan last year, and I know I'm never gonna. Well, I don't want to be the person that's the 3-game sample size when Hackett was gone, but there's no coincidence that everything just completely flipped on its head, and Sean Payton's had nothing but really big time offenses. But granted, that was completely with Drew Brees. But even in the few games he missed, he made Teddy Bridgewater look pretty good.
I'm with you, and I hear that. The Broncos did end their schedule with the Rams, which I think that's the game that he got fired, right?
Yep.
And then they got the Chiefs, which had a bad defense, and the Chargers in Week 18 in a meaningless game. So it's do I care about having Week 18 where Russ is probably carrying way more than any other player about Week 18? And And I'm with you. Like it could totally be a rebirth, and Sean Payton is a godsend. I just am not of the mindset. Like I am of the mindset that a bad coach can hurt players a lot, but I don't think a good coach is like Jesus Christ himself and is able to breathe life into maybe a dying quarterback. And like what we saw in the preseason, at least in week 1, was O-line concerns and like Russ missing like a very open Jerry Jeudy. I think you go Gainwell here to pair with Swift.
Let's do that.
I think that's very strong in best ball. Because it's like, all right, we're basically ensuring we get a league winner here as long as it's not Penny, which, I mean, it could be Penny. And they both compete with each other for touches. It can pay off in so many ways, too, especially with the Eagles' backfield, where maybe Swift is the regular season league winner, then gets hurt, and now you have a low-owned Gainwell. Or maybe they're, like, cannibalizing each other for the 2-minute touches. Or we also know that the Eagles will just play whoever they feel like at the goal line. And so you can kind of get this, like, ping-pong effect.
Yeah, I like Gainwell. Kind of going back to the Broncos point real quick. I kind of agree with Alex that Sean Payton feel like he's going to change everything. And I think Russ, like, he has to be in for a bounce back year. Like he has to be, right? Like he was phenomenal in Seattle. He comes and he looks like garbage now. Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. Like I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's going to come back to
well, I don't know. Like that's not the only data point we had either. The other data point we had is that Pete Carroll chose to get rid of him.
That's true. That's true.
And then Geno looked really good.
Pete Carroll's the dog.
You know? Like
fair point.
So it's not like they got rid of him and then Geno was a disaster. No, like Geno was legit. They chose to get rid of Russ. They kind of like knew the writings on the wall. So I'm down with Mingo. Can you click tight end? Is Musgrave gone? Yeah, he
Musgrave just went.
I think it's like Mingo or Everett.
Yep.
If you don't want to be gross at tight end. I'm down with Mingo. Let's go Mingo. He works well with the Christian Kirk guy.
Yeah, that's what I was. That was my initial thought. Was Mingo is a nice little bring against Kirk and Trevor.
Yeah.
And then we could even look at our next pick, like if Everett falls. Don't hate Dulcich either. Actually, I'd rather go Everett than Dulcich on this team. And then
I'm not ready to bury Dulcich for dead either, based off of some preseason stuff. Like part of what I think happens in the preseason is we're seeing like a lot of these tight ends who we previously liked, guys like Dulcich, guys like Dalton Schultz, and even Kincaid, where they're not getting like 100% snaps in the preseason. But what I think coaches are doing is they're running more 12 personnel and they're blocking tight ends out there because they don't want their starting quarterback to get blown up in a preseason game. So, of course, they want Adam Troutman blocking in the preseason, Knox blocking in the preseason, Quentin Tinero or whoever for the Texans blocking. Will they do that in the regular season? I don't know.
The same thing happened last year with Travis. I read an article that was kind of saying that Kelsey's was down lower than his career. And like that meant that like maybe we should be avoiding him because he's not going to play as many snaps now that he's older.
That's you cut out a little bit there, but I think you said on Travis Kelce.
Yeah, that's what I heard too.
Yeah. His route participation was down in the preseason last year, and then people started fading him.
Yeah.
people just overreact like crazy sometimes.
They were like, he only played 70% route participation in the preseason, so he might not be the same guy.
Gel Edge 217. He doesn't care about ADP. He went Jahan in the 4th. He went Deion Jackson in the 14th. He's getting his guys.
Crazy.
That's interesting. We've had, this is a very interesting room. We've had some pretty interesting picks. Jahan Dotson in the 4th was the first one, and then we also saw.
I think he should be going ahead of Terry.
I agree. Just like completely does not care about ADP though. And then Deshaun Watson in the 5th.
Over Burrow
in the 6th.
and Lawrence.
Yeah, before Burrow and Trevor. That's pretty wild. But hey, I'm here for all of it. All right, we got Kendry in the 14th. Okay, so we're at what? We're at a 2-5-6-1. Probably gonna want to go tight end at this pick. If Dulcich falls all the way back to us, I think we'd take him.
Yep.
What do you guys think about doing a little Buffalo double and grabbing both Knox and Kincaid? Have either of you guys done that before?
Yeah, I have zero issues with it. I think they're playing different roles.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the Gainwell Swift thing where you can get the ping pong weeks.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I mean, that's a pretty solid strategy, especially in best ball. What were you saying, Alex?
Would you do that over Dulcich, like grabbing Knox here?
I don't think so because I think it's realistic that we get both of them since even our next pick is.
Yeah, I prefer Dulcich anyway. I was just
yeah,
asking.
me too. I mean, Knox will definitely be on the field, and that's always helpful when your best ball players are on the field.
Like Greg Dulcich is the classic, like, let's take advantage of the fear in the market where, I mean, the Judy injury is kind of big for him too, where like if we were concerned about Troutman, he's a legit like upside swing. I kind of like him in a 3 tight end room. I don't see him being like Albert O, like that seems absurd.
All right, Dulcich is here. 12 picks after ADP. We'll take it.
And the Athletic reporters did an article on like one nugget from each of their teams, and the Broncos dude literally wrote about Dulcich, saying that he's going to be like the Joker in their offense.
I did see that report. It's feels good to have. I was drafting a ton of Dulcich like before the preseason. Like Dulcich, I think was going in like the 11th or 12th round, and I was grabbing him there every single time.
Regardless, like it wouldn't take much because Sean Payton has had 4 different tight ends finish top 12 as a head coach.
I love that.
I mean, 15 years, he's had 4 separate tight ends finish in the top 12. That's like hard to do for any coach.
Yeah, Dawson, excellent.
How many more picks do we have here? What round are we?
We have 3 more picks, and we're at 2-5-6-2.
Well, I definitely think we're grabbing 1 wide out, 1 tight end, and then we can have that other spot be anything. For me, I'm taking either DPJ, Isaiah Hodgins, or Rashid Shaheed here. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones is like probably going to go for 1,000 yards this season. If you think Michael Thomas is slowing down, Rashid Shaheed is going to have a big season. And then Isaiah Hodgins was literally just like lights out to end the season last year. They brought in other guys. But I really think, you don't reach on one of these tight ends here. You get one of these wideouts. And you could go Sam Howell and just like tack on a 3rd quarterback if you feel like too. But
Shaheed goes.
I like DPJ here a lot.
I think DPJ.
He's a great best ball. I mean, him and Shaheed are like the same bet. Yeah, he's a great best ball guy. And DPJ. I'm not that worried about Cedric Tillman. I think what could happen if Cedric Tillman sees the field is that DPJ and Tillman play on the outside and they put Amari in the slot. And really it affects like Elijah Moore the most.
That'd be pretty nice for Amari if he goes into the slot. You get some pretty soft coverage. Okay, so looks like we're down to pretty much just Hayden Hurst for a 3rd tight end, or if we could go just like Mark.
I like Mayer a lot more than Hurst. I like Conklin more. I like Otten more. I think Hurst could be fool's gold.
You think Hurst is? Can it really be considered fool's gold if it's in the 18th round, 17th, 18th round?
It is because like people are telling themselves the story of like he's going to be on 100% of the snaps, and then he wasn't even on 100% of the snaps in the preseason game.
It's like tearing apart all my tweets like about Hayden Hurst. Like he's gonna see all
it's a personal attack.
He could lead the team in targets, and he's Bryce Young's guy. Like,
I mean, I've drafted him some. I'm just saying, if you look at the most recent, here, I'll pull up the usage report from Nathan Yankee of PFF here.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as we thought it was going to be because the first game he played 100%, and then the second 2, I think he went down every game.
Yeah, he played a hundo the first 2 or something, but here, let's try to find this. He didn't. the point is he did not in the third preseason game.
Yeah, he was down to 75% in the third one. I think he was at like 87 in the second one, 100 in the first. So he's lost a little bit each week.
And he's like not good either, like
I think they're just keeping him healthy and just as a secret weapon. So like when the regular season
can you be 35 and be a secret weapon?
Yeah.
No, I think Mayer is a way higher swing at upside. Personally, I'm not like worried about what's his face. Who's the other tight end there?
Austin Hooper.
I'm not worried about Austin Hooper.
Yeah, Austin Hooper feels.
My only problem is just that like since 2000, like there's been 5 tight ends to finish top 12 in points per game. I know we don't need that, but like we're more looking for spike weeks. But I don't know. Maybe I know that these like there's like we've never seen probably a class of tight ends this good that have gotten drafted this early. But I think just the history of rookie tight ends scares me a little bit. But like we're in the 17th round. Like we're not asking for.
I'm of the mindset that narrative can just go and die because I think this is the and like maybe I'm wrong this year, like totally possible, but I think this is the year where this is like the tight end class, people are saying.
Yep.
And then that if you look at a lot of the high drafted tight ends in the past and where they landed, it is some of the worst quarterback play in the NFL. It's like guys like Deshaun Kaiser with David Njoku. 44-year-old Eli Manning is like the best of the bunch, with Evan Ingram. And so not to mention the prevalence of cover 2 in the NFL. I think I'm Tyler Conklin over these guys. He's getting he's going to share snaps with CJ Uzomah, it seems, a little bit more than we like, but
Tyler Conklin went too.
Okay, we might have to go Hurst then. Let's go Hurst. We're back on Hurst. I'm Hurst over these guys.
Will you agree to buy a Hayden Hurst jersey? If we win the $3 million, you'll buy a Hayden Hurst jersey. Okay.
No, I mean I like Conklin more, I like Mayer more, but like we just need a tight end now. So
I'm wearing my Hurst Expo next year if we.
All right, we got one more pick left, guys. I highlighted some guys that I like and that kind of fit our build. Any specific names that you guys?
Let's choose what position you guys want to do, wide out or running back.
I think we can do either way. Like maybe we could go running back just to buoy Breece Hall a little bit more through the first 4 weeks, and then maybe
is Sean Tucker still there?
Injuries. Who?
Is Sean Tucker still there?
He is. Let's go Sean Tucker. I love Sean Tucker.
Are you Alex, are you worried about Sean Tucker eating into Rachaad White's workload at all?
I mean, I'm a Rachaad White guy, but I think the Sean Tucker stuff is really valid. Is he going to take over right away? Like as far as redraft, like no, but in best ball, I think Sean Tucker's a great pick. So I think he would have been like a 3rd or 4th round pick in the NFL draft if it wasn't for that heart issue.
Yeah, and he's looking like he passes my eye test.
Yeah, he looked good in college, really, and in the preseason he looked good too.
Yeah, his production profile, where he is, the landing spot. I have no faith in Edmonds or Keyshawn Vaughn. So like, should anything either happen to Rachaad White, or if Rachaad White just isn't good, Sean Tucker I think could be really interesting, especially with Baker Mayfield's history. With any running back behind him is produced.
Oh, I love that you guys run Sean Tucker. This is amazing.
And strategy wise, like you really should be trying to take guys in these late August drafts that have not been drafted all summer, so that you're not competing with the early drafted teams. Because like Sean Tucker was not being drafted in May, Yeah,
he wasn't. Actually, I think I drafted one Sean Tucker in May.
All right, but like for the large, mostly he was not.
But yeah, I mean, he's like, even on the Spike Week tool, he has like a 0% projected draft rate. Like it's really, really low. It's probably a little bit higher now that he's shown.
Yeah, he's going to be drafted quite a bit this month, but
yeah, probably.
I don't know. Like I was initially a 0% Rachaad White guy, and then I kind of came around to like, all right, he's like the only guy there. I was clicking him, and now I'm worried again a little bit about Sean Tucker emerging. White did get 100% of the snaps with the starting offense
All they've talked about all offseason is just that how he's going to see a 3-down roll. And like I know Scott Barrett wrote in an article about just how in love every Bucks reporter have said the Bucks are with Rachaad White. Like they're just so in love with him. His college profile was just like beyond ridiculous. And I'm hoping that last year, like people are hating on him for his inefficiency. And I hope that he just ends up, increasing that a lot. But I will say the eye test as far as last year, like I didn't watch him and feel like, oh, this guy's like the most explosive guy I've ever watched. Like I felt like watching Sean Tucker. But
Alex, how do you think the season-ending injury to Ryan Jensen kind of impacts?
Yeah, that's not great.
Rachaad White's outcomes.
It doesn't help, but like Rachaad White now is going as like the running back 30. Like I think now he is like probably the cheapest workhorse in all of fantasy football.
I got him at pick 95 the other day, which was
That's
just
what
like
I mean. Like the more people fade him, like the more I want to draft him because he's just going like cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And like if he's not getting inflated at all, like I'm gonna
DeAndre Swift or Rachaad White, Alex.
Oh man. I'm gonna take Rachaad White. That's my guy.
Rachaad White or James Conner?
Rachaad White.
Rachaad White or Javonte Williams?
Oh man. I'm gonna say Rachaad White.
Wow.
Rachaad White or David Montgomery. This is best ball, all best ball.
Yeah. Oh, best ball. Oh, best ball may be different, but I would David Montgomery.
David Montgomery's pretty good in best ball.
David Montgomery's pretty good.
And you have to be thinking through like contingent upside with like Rachaad White does not have contingent upside, right?
Yep.
Like his contingent upside is he just holds down the starting job. I mean, I guess like Chris Godwin getting hurt helps him contingently a little bit.
Yeah, I think what you said about that, as far as best ball goes, like someone like Javonte is probably a better pick than Rachaad White as far as best ball.
Unless Javonte does not get the full workload, like
he literally outsnapped Piran in his first game back. Like I'm buying Javonte all day right now.
Is that going to hold up? I
don't know. 100%. Piran like literally in his like he's never ever been good. Like his rookie season, he had over 200 touches, and he finished outside the top 40 running backs. He was horrendous.
He had some good games last year.
Yeah, but he's like in his seventh year.
That's the NCAA leading rusher, isn't that?
Yeah, he has the most rushing yards in a single game with 427 yards against Kansas as a true freshman.
That's crazy.
That's unreal. That is an unreal rushing record in a conference game too. That's unreal.
Even just the fact that they gave Javonte like 5 targets. Like I know it's preseason football, but just like that kind of usage is just ridiculous.
I mean, he was getting used like that. Like when he played 2 games last year, he had like 20 targets through 2 weeks, something like that. Something crazy.
That's what I mean. And then did you know Sean? I tweeted this out yesterday. Sean Payton's had a top 20 fantasy running back in 14 of his 15 seasons as a head coach.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
People get injured. And he had a guy that finished top 20 every year. Not even in points.
Not impossible. This is the Sean Payton reset year, though. And
that's a good point.
And he's like,
yeah.
He looks at the team. He's like, you know what we're not doing? We're not beating the Chiefs. You know what else we're not doing? We're not beating the Chargers. You know what else we're doing? We're coin flipping with the Raiders. Like, that is bad. And maybe he assesses the roster and is like, it's time to blow this up and rebuild it. And what will happen in Fantasyland after that? I don't know. Like, I mean, or he gives it one last twilight shot with Russ. I don't see it. I'm legit worried that Russ will not finish out the whole season. But I mean, I guess I prefer drafting skill players on the Broncos than Russ, who I'm like actually worried would get benched.
That's fair.
Who's their backup quarterback?
Stidham.
Oh, Jarrett Stidham. Oh, Stidham looked pretty good last year. Where was he, in Las Vegas?
When he balled out for the Raiders. Yeah, I thought it was crazy they let him go.
Who's Jimmy's backup?
Aiden O'Connell, who's also looked good.
Oh, yeah. Aiden O'Connell was balling in the preseason.
It's the truth.
Okay. Well, that's our team. This could be the one. Trevor Lawrence, Geno Smith at quarterback.
I feel really strong.
DeAndre Swift, Zach Charbonnet, Kenneth Gainwell, Sean Tucker at running back, Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb. Jeez. Christian Kirk, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Marvin Mims, Jonathan Mingo, DPJ at wide receiver, and Kincaid Dulcich. And the face of this team, Hayden Hurst at tight end.
I mean, the Hayden Hurst bring back with Kirk and Lawrence, like, come on. Like,
throw it on the thumbnail. Throw it on the thumbnail.
Hayden Hurst. I love it. I love it. But that's going to do it for us, folks. Really appreciate Liam and Alex for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun. And thank you all for joining us on the stream. Hope you all have a phenomenal rest of your Monday. Peace.